my opponent for such a title. What a surprise. That's wonderful. And
I didn't see the smoke. What will we collecting?
It has been a real privilege, indeed a great honor for me to serve in the last 2 terms as your presiding bishop. And the rewards have been enormous. The people I've met throughout the country and now throughout the world have made a profound impact upon my life. And I have really grown in my own faith experience because of the faith of so many people that I have met. I look forward to serving my last and final term as your presiding bishop. And I know that, that God is already preparing that person who you will select to serve as my successor in the years to come. In the meantime, there's a few things that I would like to share with you this evening to give you a sense of what I see as, for lack of a better word, a pastoral strategic plan for us, to give you an idea what I'd like to focus our attention on in my last term as your presiding bishop. But I want to begin by having a little prayer together, and I invited Michael up again, and he's going to offer a prayer for us musically, but I thought we would stand together as we open with this very special prayer.
As the psalmist spoke, how good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to dwell together in unity.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
Amen. Thank you very much. May be seated. I'd love to hear the prayer language of Jesus. Isn't that great? I will be brief, and I have developed a 7-point strategic pastoral plan for the Ecumenical Catholic Communion. And these are just general points that I would wish to share with you. And when I say 7 points, I feel like a presidential candidate. I'll have 7 points.
As long as you do more than miss.
I offer this to you for your consideration, for your input, for your ideas. This is what came to me as I thought about these things in the last several months. And this is the Strategic Pastoral Plan for the Ecumenical Catholic Communion for 2013 through 2016. And in my travels throughout the states and overseas, I have come to realize that the greatest need of the hour for our beloved communion is for the formation of local ECC worshiping communities of faith in every major city throughout the world. I know that's a big vision, but this is necessary for us to do. And in order to achieve this, it requires the following tasks that must be performed, and these are the 7 points that I wish to share with you. I have to say that I get a lot of communication, an enormous amount of communication from people all over the world who have learned about the ECC And when they learn about the ECC, they think it can't be true, it can't be real. And when they contact me and they look at our website and they see the other websites of the other communities, they think, this is what I've been praying for my whole life. Is there an ECC community near me? And sadly, I have to write most of my responses, not yet. But this is the greatest challenge for us, and this is our responsibility collectively as a communion. A growing faith community is a missional faith community. A growing church is a missional church. And as long as we buy in to the idea that we have to wait till we are solidly established as a local faith community before we can think about anyone outside of ourselves, is really counterproductive. But if we begin to think missionally from the very beginning, no matter how small you are, maybe you're only a community of 6, maybe you're a community of 18, maybe you're a community of 100, but we already have to be thinking about the Great Commission, which we heard in the Gospel, that our task is to spread the good news, and that means helping to form other faith communities like our own and other communities around us. This is our responsibility, and if we engage ourselves in this kind of mission that is other than our own interior needs and start thinking about a nearby area that needs a community, and we begin to support that effort, the effects of that is that your community grows because it inspires people. People think this is real, and they get engaged in the work of evangelism and the work of mission outreach. And so this is something that I will really be strong about. You're never too small to do this. You're never too small. It can happen, and God will indeed bless those efforts. And you will find that the rewards for your own faith community will be enormous, because people get excited about mission, and it creates, it's a contagious feeling. And when people feel like they have a purpose other than just taking care of their own needs, things happen. People are attracted to that. There's no doubt that there are plenty of people around that would be glad to be a part of an ECC community and involved in creating one if they only knew how to do it. And we already know how to do it because we've done it. And people just need that kind of encouragement and that kind of support from an existing ECC community. So number one, encouraging existing ECC parish communities to sponsor the establishment of at least one mission parish community in their local region. This can be done. The people of the Church of Beloved can do this. The people of Holy Family in Las Cruces can do this. Mary of Magdala in Rochester, New York can do this. You don't have to wait for the golden opportunity later on. It can happen now. There are people who hunger for what we already are enjoying. We need to share the bread. Number two, calling for the increase of ministerial vocations, particularly among the young, and providing a practical and competent means for the formation of ministerial candidates. And I therefore call upon the St. Bonaventure House of Studies to provide for such formation in academic studies. We must move forward with this, and we are in desperate need of young people responding to the call of vocation and ordained ministry. We need to respond to this because most of our pastors are over the age of 55. Right, Jim? So, and we just don't want to be a one-generation church. We're laying a foundation, but others must build upon that foundation, and we need to reach out to young people and encourage them to move forward in this way, and we need to provide a way in which they can move forward. Number three, deepening our ties to the priests of Corpus. We are honored to have with us an official representative of the Corpus organization, John Haidar and his wife. Thank you for coming. Corpus is the community which is an organization of married Roman Catholic priests. It was formed back in the mid-70s, and we have a very special relationship. Corpus sent a special representative officially to our first convocation when we ratified and accepted our Constitution and formed the ECC. And we have been friends with that organization since that time, and I have gone to most of the annual meetings since that time. The friendships are valuable, and we have an agreement between the ECC and Corpus. And the agreement simply is this: if there's an ECC community that does not have the services of priests available to them, a Corpus priest is authorized by us to provide for the pastoral and sacramental needs of an ECC community without becoming an ECC priest. We recognize their calling and their priesthood, and there have been communities that have relied upon Corpus priests to help us in our ministry to our members. I think of Holy Spirit in Massachusetts. Rosa knows Father Ron Ingalls, who's done a lot, who's a Corpus priest, and also Father Thomas Moore in Washington. Yes?
And Father Joe McCool.
Oh yeah, that's really his name, Father Joe McCool. And Nick Delos Reyes, who's a member of the St. Matthew community, is also a longtime member of Corpus. He's here. Why don't you wave your hand? And his wife, Mary. So we can call upon Corpus to be of help to us because we have this agreement. And also, in exchange for their favor to us, our favor to them would be if there's a Corpus priest that ever needs to have any sort of ecclesiastical endorsement in order to do any kind of special ministry, we're willing to provide that for the Corpus priest. So that relationship already exists, and so we need to think about how we can call upon our brothers and sisters in the Corpus community to be of help in forming ECC communities, and I know that they will help us do that. Right? Amen? Amen. Okay. And then, deepening our ties to the priests of Corpus in order to solicit their temporary assistance in the pastoral care of newly emerging ECC parish communities until an ECC priest can be provided for. So this can happen, and Corpus is a large organization, and there are Corpus priests all over the country. Number 4, contacting existing independent Catholic intentional Eucharistic communities. Because we're a part of a greater movement. We're just one small manifestation of a worldwide movement of conscientious Catholics, concerned Catholics, that have formed their own independent worshiping communities. Intentional Eucharistic communities are called. And there are hundreds of them in the United States and probably thousands throughout the world. They're disconnected from the Mother Church, but they're floating out there with no other kind of connection. And so we need to reach out to those communities and educate them on the existence of the ECC and inviting them to consider membership affiliation with us. There's probably communities like this already in your local area. This would include our continued engagement with our friends among the Roman Catholic Reformed organizations who are aware of such communities and are now supporting and endorsing them. And I'm thinking of our relationship with CORE, Catholic Organizations for Renewal, and Call to Action, as well as the Roman Catholic Women Priests. These relationships are important, and it's important for us to be engaged in dialogue with these organizations. But our purpose is clear. Our purpose for engaging in the dialogue is for the establishment of more worshiping communities that ultimately would see that being a part of the ECC is the way to go. So we do have, and we make that clear with our friends in the Roman Catholic Reformed organizations. Then, number 5, fostering the development of small local churches. And when I mean local church, I mean dioceses, among the various regional communities with the election of local bishops and the formation of a conciliar polity in keeping with the constitution of the Ecumenical Catholic Communion. This is important because for us, we do not want bishops that are remote, like a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. We want bishops who are pastoral and relational. And in order to have, not princes of the church, but bishops who are pastoral and relational, and the only way you can have that kind of bishop is if he's close by, that he's local to the communities that he serves. You can't have a bishop 1,000 miles away and expect that bishop to be very relational with you. Then, number 6, forming a department of public relations within the office of the presiding bishop, with the appointment of a public relations officer mandated to form an ECC public relations committee of experts with at least one member from each of the 8 houses, the HOL and the HOP. Do you like that idea? Yeah. We can form this, and the money will come later for this, but we need to start putting these things into motion and in existence. And so I want you to consider that with me. And this suggestion came to me from Father Tom Altepeter. So I thank Tom for that. And then number 7, that the office of presiding bishop would form a department of planning and budget preparation for things that are done within the office of the presiding bishop, with the appointment of a chief financial officer for the office of the presiding bishop. Not for the entire community, but for the office of the presiding bishop. And then that officer will interface with the leaders of the HOP as we discuss and develop budget considerations and the challenges that come with. You can tell I don't like talking about money, but I think you get the idea. It is the idea that we would be more proactive in engaging one another and moving forward. So those are my 7 points. I only needed a few minutes to share that with you, and I'm going to make this available. If we can get someone to copy this, I'll make a copy available to all the delegates that are here. Is there any questions about anything I mentioned in this 7-point strategic plan, pastoral plan for the ECC? Yes, Father Ferris.
Thank you, Bishop Peter. The last words, I just want to make sure that, did you say that it would be in consultation with the HOL?
No, there would be within the office of the presiding bishop its own financial committee, an office with an officer that would be appointed, but that officer would then engage the HOL. Right. Because that engagement is so necessary in communicating.
You just said HOP.
Did I say HOP? Yes. I am sorry. I apologize to our brothers and sisters of the HOL. I'm sorry, HOP. This doesn't involve you. And any other questions for purposes of clarity?
Okay.
Yes, Father Fernando.
Just one question. I just want to make sure that you said the point 7 that is what this project is going to be is for just the purposes of the office of the presiding bishop.
Yes.
Okay, it doesn't have to be for pastoral work or anything like that. Just for the.
It's just for the functioning of the office of the presiding bishop.
Okay.
And all that the office of the presiding bishop has been mandated by our Constitution to do. It has to be funded. So, yeah, it's just for that. Yeah. Any other questions? Wow, I love it that I can be so clear. So I will make this available to you as a copy, so you'll have it for your consideration and to review. But that is my intention of what we would be achieving in the next few years, my last term as your presiding bishop.